a city on a hill with a bottle of wine.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Sunday staff meeting, the weekly staff meeting, which everybody looks forward to because it's so awesome. It's so interesting. It's so wonderful. And so many things to discuss. Mainly, I can get out some of the stuff that's been piling up. Vic and I have been talking about developments, and mainly all the developments are about the new shows and getting guests in, trying to get more organized. So one of the things that we're working on is trying to improve our communications. That's what we're saying. We got to improve our communications and planning so we know when people are going to be available for the upcoming shows. That's one of the big planning things, because all the upcoming shows, including the upcoming Saturday shows, we need to verify our participants. And so that's what we were talking about, some of the things we can do to verify those participants. Okay. So we're going to be working on that, talking to Miko about that, because we have to start get some of the planning. We got this new Saturday show coming up, the Free Music Extravaganza, where it's all music that is free, all free music throughout the broadcast, featuring Laswell, Love Shadow, Old Dog, Snowflake, Frank H. Carter, and a bunch of the folks from CC Mixter, a bunch of that stuff. So one of the things is that we're getting stuff ready to tie into that. Now, one of the big developments is, and Vic knows about this too, is the PAC Stereo drop cam system that's gone in around the campus, which allows us to tie into remote cameras that we can move around. It's really a wonderful system.
Right.
Small, compact. Includes two-way audio. So here's a picture of what it looks for one of them. See, that's the one that's sitting right over here over my shoulder. And then there's one also in the, what we call the middle office upstairs. Easily switchable, going to these things. And what's interesting is the software has this monitor activity, which for security, which is not why we set it up, but we'll be taking advantage of it, where it gets triggered by activities. And it records those activities. And you get to choose and set the parameters. That's some of the interesting stuff to play with, about what are the parameters for it to trigger recording. So we'll be talking about that. But mainly we'll be using it too when we have events to have, show you the cameras of people outside hanging out doing things.
This is really adopted from what they call a scaled down security system concept. Motion detection, the whole thing.
All of that. Yeah. And the fact that the cameras are high def, include two-way audio, so you could talk out the camera.
Right.
Or you could listen.
Right.
Okay. It allows you to zoom and move around.
Right.
The view.
Through the app. The app. The lens moves.
Well, it doesn't. Here's an example. I'll do it on this one. So you could just grab the page. Where is it? Let's go full screen. I mean, you can grab the page. So wait, it's not acting right. But you can supposedly grab the page. Oh, is that the one? Well, anyway, I'm still learning it. But you'll be able to zoom in on the page. Oh, here's zoom. I think you can grab it. So there you go. See how I can move it?
Okay.
So I can go down there and go, oh, what's that? Let's zoom in on that. What is that? What's that on this table? What is that? Is that a sample? Is that a sample, sir? What is that? No, not me. I didn't do it. It wasn't me, sir. Please, sir. No, confess. Anyway, the point being, you don't have to use any of that stuff. You can just come up to 7 times zoom.
Okay. 7 different frame zooms. Okay, cool.
7 times.
7 times, you mean? Okay.
Yeah, 7
times. I got you. That's cool.
Now, you can switch back, like here's the camera here. So when you have multiple cameras, you can switch to them here. Or you can go, there's a view also. You go to the My Camera view, you can see all the cameras together. See, then you can enlarge that. So you can take that and go boom, boom. See? How about that?
Cool.
So the whole idea is we start having these events, which are like party events, with performances, musical performances, other acts and stuff going around.
Right.
We'll have this sort of stage. This will be this is not to replace. It is to augment our traditional video setups.
Right. I got you.
And the fact that this also, by the way, these cameras operate in high def. So that's what I like about it too. So you can get it.
Nice. I like the wide range.
Now this trial is that where the cameras will continuously record 7 days a week, 24 hours into an online setup.
24/7, huh?
Yeah. And that way you can have continuous. But I wasn't interested in any of that stuff really. Okay.
So you actually can play back 24 hours or 7 days of
Yes.
footage, you're saying.
Yeah, they have it where it's two plans. One is 30 days.
Right.
For like $20 a month.
Okay.
And the other plan is like 7 days for $9 a month.
Okay. Cool.
Something like that, see? It's kind of interesting there. But at least the kind of view. Now, what's remarkable, I have to admit, now that high-def view,
Right.
that's hot. That camera lens is getting a hot view.
Yeah. Yeah, it is better. It's much better than the high-quality camera. Definitely. You just have to have the proper lighting on the back of you.
Yeah, now, you could let's turn off this one, Vic. I was going to see something. Can you reach it? Oh, I think I can reach it. Just want to see what it looks like. It already is adjusting, though. You see, because I looked at it in the nighttime, right, when I turned off everything. And even in the middle one, it's interesting. It's really interesting what the low light stuff does, because it starts to adjust. In other words, it just does one thing, then it adjusts.
Right.
And and by the way, this software has a kind of an artificial intelligence that allows you to set some of the parameters.
Okay.
Like right here, let me see if I can do something. Let's come out of the full screen view, shrink it down so I can see the controls. See, I have the page enlarged. Okay, so now go here to the settings. Or is it here? Okay, I think it's here. Settings. Okay, look at the camera. You can choose status light, whether or not a light appears on the camera to tell you what's on. I have the status light on. But if for some reason you wanted to record in stealth mode,
Right.
you could turn that status light off.
Okay.
You also have night vision on auto. You can rotate the image. You can include audio. You can set the mic sensitivity. You can set a schedule so that the camera comes on at certain times and off at other times. You can set up both motion and sound detection to trigger it. Okay?
Okay.
That's part of the settings. All that can be done from your phone, too.
Right, and your smart device.
Your tablets, all of those work.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. I'm impressed. So we're going to be using this to do other things, like I said, to give people a feed. But again, that's where it gets to us.
Right.
Kind of what we do with it.
Right. Well, I mean, it's for a lot of people who may not follow this type of software, they'll say, hey, it's just another camera angle. But it's a different way when you implement it throughout a network of that is upgrading the level of the video quality. High def is the key word, and that's the part I enjoy about it because it is high def. That I enjoy.
Well, there you go. So now, just so the other announcements, because mostly it's announcements. So we're going to be working on scheduling the upcoming episodes. We got an outline I did for the Free Music Extravaganza. I figure we could just try to pick a day that we think is the most likely and then pull it off in the format, like I said, we had discussed previously.
Right.
Where, if we can't get, make it work
Right.
And whatever we get the first time, make it work.
Right.
It's just a 2-hour thing with that music. So I always thought I'd be prepared.
Right.
I was also saying for the Wednesday, Vic, the drop cam. Right now, it looks like I'm totally ready to take that mobile with us on our Wednesdays. That's the part I was going to go over in planning with you for the Wednesday excursions.
Right.
Was to plan stuff by going to places that were at or near hotspots.
Right.
Use hotspots, but not be limited. In other words, when there weren't them, we would still do our other stuff.
Right.
But be ready to go because the Dropbox goes so light and
Right.
easy. That along with the Redbox.
Right.
And using I went and looked again at the live stream broadcaster app, which greatly communicates with the Redbox.
Right.
I think we're ready to go use that.
Okay.
Just use it. We just have to hook the Redbox to the other high def cam. So we're talking about using the Redbox, the drop cam, and maybe a version of the Look-See live to do something.
Why don't you update them on the look-see?
Oh, yeah, the Look-See has to do with the fact that the company recently announced that they are getting out of supporting their camera products because they're going into their security products. So as of December this year, they'll be no longer supporting the Look-See camera line. So everybody should buy no more of them. Now watch, they're still selling them.
Yeah.
I wish that their sales would just freeze. I just wish they would freeze.
Wow. In other words, you already knew they knew it was coming, and they took it to the last moment to collect any
Yeah, we've
sales.
already bought 3 of these
Yeah.
cameras.
Yeah.
But that's okay. The theory of how we use them, I'm going to use them, attempt to use them in generic ways. So I think we're still on it. In other words, we have our iPhone mounts. Those I love. The iPhone mount that we
Right.
got. Those are good, solid, easy. So I want to take the minimum of stuff. So what we're going to be doing is going live on these excursions and doing a bunch of selfie type video things with the iPhones and some point of view things with the other cameras.
Right.
But it's how we approach it. But yeah, I'm pretty much ready. And the drop cam, we're going to use those too because they're easy to use
Okay.
with the phone app. We can put those back and let those record the scene.
Okay.
They also will do stop motion too, time lapse.
Right.
So there's
I
a
saw
bunch
that.
of things we could do too with those.
Okay.
And we could easily take 2 and have one recording, one doing time lapse.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that feature.
So it's how you use them that I find interesting
Right.
because they record right to the spot, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So there's no more than that anywhere it plugs in. So once you figure out a little way to mount, you don't really need a mount there. You'll sit almost,
Right.
So the mount is if you just want to get them higher or whatever.
Okay.
So my thing is that if we have something like 2 of those, it's what and again, that's just to get some point of view stuff.
Right.
That's what's interesting, but it can be live while we're doing it because of the ease of setup.
Right. Now you're just expanding outside the studio.
Yeah, but this whole excursion thing. Only thing that's different than Vic and I plans is that we're going to be going on excursion with way less equipment than we ever imagined
Right.
because it mostly involves using smartphones.
Right.
That's the whole thing. Almost all of them sit around smartphone or tablet control.
Right.
And really smartphone control primarily, secondarily tablet control.
Right.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to make that clear. So that's what we're planning for these going out and shooting things. Okay. And I'm going to be sending out requests to people via text videos. Vic and I discuss as I communicate with some of our guests for the future about upcoming shows.
Right.
Vic and I discuss that. So some people may be getting video text from me. That means a text message that includes a video. Okay, so that's the way I'm going to be doing it.
Definitely.
Okay, Vic, Softphone sent us out a bunch of quick guides. I have one, and I also have one for Miko, too. So whatever point we can get started with her phone account. I don't know if you got one. Did you get? No.
I don't think I got one.
No, they sent them all to me for some reason. They sent me 4 of them.
I didn't get. Okay, I'll grab it from you.
I'll get it to you later. But it's 2 quick guides. They sent all these quick guides out.
Okay.
And it's just to have. I just thought it was interesting.
Okay.
Now, and most of you do know I got my Hobo Kelly. This is my magic camera now. It allows me to see into Facebook. So that's what I'm be using from now on.
Yeah, a little bit too close. A little bit too close. Privacy issue. Privacy.
Oh, well, okay. So I think most of it, that's it. Because most of the other stuff, just know they're working on the schedule. So the test run, we're not going to do that because we're going to watch the game. But Vic, the thing we have to actively consider, because this we're not going to do on air, is the scheduling. Is to actually do the scheduling, the tentative scheduling of where we want to put the go for.
Right.
For the Extravaganza and one of the other shows. And the other thing is, I want to do a DJ to test the system, the solo system. And the question is, when you want to do that? There's also, we can put it around the games.
Okay.
Okay, because depending on what happens today, I can do it tonight. Now, when I say what I'm talking about is, we're going to run like an hour. I'm gonna set up the solo system where you're running it,
right? So
I can troubleshoot it while you're doing little things.
Okay, so you're saying you want to do it today,
or tonight?
Okay. So let's see. That's probably going to be the last game is over a little late. So we're talking about after the game.
Yes, I'm saying for you because it could be at your convenience. Because I think so I was going to say tomorrow, but we might as well knock it out. I might be back. I'm going to be back out here doing the other stuff.
Okay.
And it's the thing I need to test while you're running the stuff. I can test out some of the other things.
Okay.
Well, basically, I got to see what kind of the issues are.
Right.
So you just have to have your regular setup. You're going to be running the iTunes remote from the phone.
Right.
And DJing. Well, I do all the other stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good to me. Might as well.
Okay, and then I want to, but I also want to schedule. For example, once we've got an hour max. It may not have to be an hour, but because what I want to do, actually for the future, is plan another test where we can have some people in the thing with us. We can see it ends up being a show. Whether you call it a test is how we want to brand it. I need to do it where you're running that stuff with the solo flight while I'm troubleshooting the issues.
Right.
So we have to try it at some point in time.
Right.
So I figured I might as well try to run those other things.
Okay.
Once it's up and running, you want to go for a while I look at other stuff. So I might as well, that's what I ended up adding to it. First it was just seeing that you could get it up.
Right.
And then me checking other things. So
right.
That's why I said it's not supposed to be a real big deal or anything.
Oh, no, I understand. I mean, it's no different than what we're doing right now. It's just that the control is from over here.
Yeah. It's just the approach.
Right.
Because remember, it feels, that's the whole point. It's not supposed to feel that any different. You're going to have your laptop for desktop. This with iTunes.
Right.
And I'll put iTunes probably over there so I can do other work here.
Right. Okay. Okay, I mean nobody's not going to realize what we're doing. It's just it's what we're experiencing.
They wouldn't realize it if I tried to tell them.
Yeah, it's not going to. That's not. If you guys are just saying, well, how are we following? It's an internal thing.
We're going to be experimenting with going live,
right,
with a different setup where basically it's for when Vic is here running everything from his position, and I'm gone. I'm not here.
Right.
He could do a different kind of a show, or when I'm here.
Right.
Optimum Prime is the one where I'm here, but I'm doing other things to maximize the other stuff. It's like I'm augmenting Miko. That's the only difference. If you imagine, now Vic's in the head running a DJ show with us. Vic running it. He's making the music selections. Doesn't have to take requests, or there has none of that stuff. That we don't. He's just that he's DJing, and while he's doing that, Miko's running the interactive. But I'm augmenting all that by checking out and adding the technology to make sure it works. So we can have simultaneous call in, Uvu, all of that simultaneous, and get it pulled into the broadcast. Because we almost got it already.
Right.
But I just got to work with that Uvu.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a different.
That's one of the main ones.
Yeah.
If Miko was over there running this or that, and if I run the Uvu,
right,
and control your screen, what you have up here. So you may not be a separate screen.
Yeah.
I might be controlling what you're getting up there. See what I'm saying? But that's a whole rerunning, a whole separate thing for you. See what I'm saying?
Right.
All right, so that's
Yeah,
what
I
everybody.
understand.
So that's where the test is. That's why I wanted to schedule it and say, if we like it, we may want to schedule. See, we have to. I need to do a few of them to do the test. That's why I was getting back to the schedule thing. I need to do a few of them to work out what I'm doing.
Okay.
And half an hour may be too short. An hour's enough.
Well, if the test, that's expected if there's going to be a problem. But if it's running good for the first 10, 15 minutes with no problem, then the length is not an issue. It's just whether the apps are working
But
properly.
then I have other stuff I was going to do.
Right.
To check, to test.
Right.
In other words, that's what I would test the Uvu.
Right.
Because I can now focus. It's subtle, but it's a big difference for me because I'm not focusing on the show.
Right.
That's the big difference. Now, the part that makes it like a show is because whether or not it's a test, we might as well give it a name again. But it's still, and then hype it, because it is the fact that it's Victor Allen's. So I was just going to do whatever it takes to make it easy for you to have your selections set up. The easy way. In other words, if I have to go pull them up, you tell me, then I'll pull them. Whatever gets it done the first time's easily.
Right.
Later on, you'll be able to.
Oh no! I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the difference between having a unique show versus just a plug-in show with music. Well, yeah, we discussed this before. It's just a matter of how much I want to get involved and how much I want involved. Whether it's the Uvu, the other apps, or it's just a simple rotation and playlist. It's scalable.
Well, yeah, and the thing I'm going to test is theoretically you could be focused just on DJ part and getting used to your stuff. And I could be testing out those other things,
Right.
Because the Uvu is the specific one. Not that we can't run Uvu, Vic. It's how we integrate it to make it go seamless. That's the part that's a little funny, like how we cut into it the right way to bring them in,
Yeah.
and talk to them, and that we have backbeat or not. All the little things I would want to see. My dream is I would cut to them, start backbeat, boom, boom, cut to them,
Right.
have the audio mixed perfect.
Right.
Over the back, see what I'm saying? That they can hear and see,
Right.
And that's the stuff we don't have worked out.
No, I understand. The problem that you had before was only the YouTube video issue.
It's what you're sharing, right? Because I was also choosing to send
Right.
them. That's back to the experiment again. See what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. It's one thing to say what you're trying to do is the value of what you're trying to do as it relates to the experience of those who are coming into Ubu, and I think that is an easier task when you say, hey, they're going to be here for what purpose versus what you're trying to get them to do. Makes it interesting how you approach it. It's almost like you say, hey, I want you guys to be able to have all the features we're displaying right now.
Yeah, because I can't control why they're coming, so I'm not
Right.
kind of worried about that.
Right.
I'm concerned about the fact whether or not my interactive people
That's what I mean.
can get into there.
That's it.
Because that's a task issue.
Right.
Yeah, in terms of the public, what they're going to see
It's totally
different.
Right.
Yeah, so for Uvu, it's specifically what they're doing while they're interacting with us, because if they can't hear the music that they're voting on,
Right.
or do they have two things open?
And then also how they're set up. I mean, a lot of times
That's
it'll be
what I mean.
interesting. How they're set up on their end will dictate a lot.
That's exactly what I meant by when
Yeah.
I said whether or not they have two things open.
Yeah.
Specifically, it has to do with whether they have a browser window open and Uvu open at the same time.
Right.
And I think that they do.
Right. Yeah.
I think they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though, what am I working on? I'm working on how to give them the show in a Uvu window.
Right.
So they can have the actual show in a window and have their Uvu stuff. So then, in that instance, they would not have a separate browser, because I would start Uvu,
Right.
and in the Uvu have it getting the feed.
Right.
That's what I'm going to experiment directly from here.
Right.
That's exact example, one of the big ones I'm going to be doing different ways
Right.
while you're doing the DJ thing.
Yeah, I understand. I
So
got
we could do it tonight, see, because I want to do enough of them that the reasons not to do it is only if we're too tired or the game goes on, and we'll just delay it, because that way we can move forward. I need to do it regularly to test the other stuff. That's where I was going to say we could think of a name, and just because I can still package or put it in replay.
Yeah.
It's too good to just throw it out no matter what you do, see.
Right.
That's the only thing, because an hour, I could tell you, is like 10 songs.
Right. Yeah.
just to plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And you're talking about the name of the show once it goes up, you're saying. Or you're just talking about the segment of where testing gets a name. Which one are you referring to? Give it a name for the actual show or just what we're attempting to test?
I'm not sure how those are different, though.
I just was wondering because you have a name already. Call it Extrava. What was it called?
No, that's the event we're going to have.
Okay,
that's a 2-hour thing that we're going to promo and have the people. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
This is what we're going to do to test the system.
Right.
Which is basically the solo flight system. Which
right.
is basically what I'm calling that. It's basically you.
Right.
Running it solo, but it's actually you're not solo.
Right.
And the other one is where it's essentially the same thing, but it's assuming that I'm specifically here with Miko to run this other one that has everything else involved.
Okay. I got it.
Optimum Prime.
Right. Okay. I got you.
And mainly it's this way because it would need to be me to run all the other tech as opposed. That's the part that'd be harder to switch. For me to have you come run the Uvu stuff, even though once we figure it out, that's possible on your laptop to be able to. Once we figure it out, it's just in the meantime, it's sort of easier to have you run. That's the 2 birds we're killing at one stone. You testing out running the whole system with all the full flexibility, while I test out the other stuff.
Right.
And then because we're doing it together, what that means for the future.
Right.
Because that allows a different kind of a show.
Right.
Either way.
Right.
Even if, makes it cool if we're running iTunes over here. You and I or anybody can switch back and forth. Me, you, or Miko.
Right.
We're controlling the music, see. We could do a bunch of other stuff with each other. That's where it gets different. It's not the same even as Quiet Storm. And the other thing I was acknowledging is that when you choose the music, no matter what, it ends up with a different feel.
You're talking about the selection of music.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's different.
Yeah. And it ends up being, see what I'm saying? It ends up being as different as the tapes were different.
Right.
And that's where I was back to, we might as well, even if we're testing, we should be testing the show that's Victor Allen.
Right.
Whatever the name of that you want to call that.
Right.
That's the part where I was saying, maybe you got to give it your name, like the collectibles or whatever you want to call it.
Right. I know. It's just something to think about. It. What kind of title, depending on the format of the show.
10 songs. And the only thing about the songs, you want them to be in iTunes already, right?
Right.
They have to, because I don't want, because I'm not going to.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Pull them up, but we want to make it so you're controlling it through iTunes.
Yeah, no, I know. Though we already talked about this. The whole thing was to set up your playlist selection through iTunes, not through Virtual DJ. No, I understand.
Yeah, and then I can help you with that.
Right. Right.
Or you could even say to me, could you see if you could add this to the playlist?
Right. Right.
Something like, because it's harder for me in remote. I was having trouble doing anything other than stop, start, switch. You could hit start a song by hitting it.
Right.
But I didn't have any way to switch it to play next.
Right.
Which is, I like that when I'm using iTunes. You could say play next.
Right.
Or add to the list, which is at the bottom of the list, or play next.
Right.
I don't see that in remote.
Right.
Okay, just so you know. And those are two of the things that made it more functional.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay?
Right.
So that's what we're talking about, doing that. That's a technical thing, you guys. Remember, so becoming bees, well, to what extent Vic and I figured out we'll promote it.
Right.
Maybe if we don't get the first one, the second ones, because we'll promote it, even as a test, we might as well give it that name.
Right.
While I'm doing the test.
Right. I mean, right now, until determined otherwise, the program, if it has an organic field itself, the name, no matter what you switch to, if it doesn't go with the initial or the next name, it'll work itself out by the nature of the program itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have time. It's still, as long as the main thing is it focuses around your choices.
Right. Definitely.
No. One other thing. And then we should figure out if we have to do the test, if I have to do it repeatedly, do we want to do it like as a regular Sunday night thing?
That's like a 2-a-day meeting. 2 meetings, well, 1 show, 1 meeting, because you got the Miko show where we actually meet.
The problem with that Is that well? That all remember. That's why I want to talk about the scheduling. See, the issue with the Miko thing is that it's occurring less than half the time. So that's part of the issue of me trying to get some of the stuff moving forward.
Right.
Because if it's canceled over half the time.
Right.
When we do that, if we cancel the whole thing, then that's when our work gets left behind. See, that's what was happening. That's why I wanted to move forward today.
Right.
So
Right.
See, so yeah, if we can keep that concise.
Right. Right.
And then we also have Monday nights, but again, that's close to Tuesday nights.
Right.
See, the nights we talked about doing production still haven't changed. It's always Sunday or Monday.
Right.
And then the occasional Saturday. So I'm just saying we're at that point.
No, I understand. No, I mean it was going to fall on the Saturday or Sunday. I was just looking at the 2 a day, and if it means that this will take more priority, then it allows me to plan around it
Well, we
because
can
it
change
splits
the staff
between your
meeting.
days. Because it really what happens is one part hits you, and then you got another. It doesn't really give you a lot of time in between. So really, because you can't get away to do other stuff, and so I think about the LZ, which is a whole different subject. So if this is going to be it, I'll stick with it.
Well, only because to date, there's been no other events that have ever come up.
Right.
That's the first thing, and then the other stuff could be changed. Like again, the 2 to 4. If we're really not going to do that, we
Right.
can just stop scheduling that,
Right.
and do the DJ and do a staff meet. Either way, it had to do with Miko. To do what we need to do is an hour
Right.
as a show,
Right.
and then the DJ show is at least an hour
Right.
as a show. Now the other ones, that's why I said that's why it's a lot of flexibility, because the other stuff was working with Miko on her stuff.
Right.
That's why that was 2 to 4.
Right. That's what I was saying.
Right. That was because of that. So you and I always did do a later one. But it's still the same issues to me. Yeah, I need the hour because part of it had to do with ultimately knocking out the video shorts for the week.
Right.
One way or the other. See, that's why it's the same time. I just say knock it out. The 2 to 4 was with Miko stuff. That's still moving pretty quickly.
But we haven't been successful until the last one. That one was going long until we had to really try to rein it in because they tend to go long.
Well, like we're about to end today, and it's going to be a 2 to
Right.
4. But here's the thing: this is what I was trying to do. I was saying for you and I to decide and go on and do what we want to do,
Right.
And for you and I to knock out our version of the multimedia and then replace it, which was
Right.
always our rule before.
Right.
In other words, so then it would be scripted. Everything would be done scripted, but you and I would write it, decide who's going to deliver it. You deliver it,
Right.
and we would shoot those. See what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And then I would just edit and put those in, and then we move forward and replace them with her. And that's still a way we've done it before.
Yeah, it's the same. It's
Yeah.
not any. This is not any different than what we used to do on Sunday nights when we first was getting the 24/7 broadcast, doing the video segments, actually meeting over the concept of it, recording the snippets. The same.
So I have a lot of flexibility. It's the task that I need to do on Sunday, and I still outside of all that, I have roughly 90 minutes that I need to get my other stuff done.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Right.
That's what I was saying. So I'm flexible about whether or not this group closer together is still task related to me.
Yeah, because what I'm doing is just adjusting when I start tackling my segments. So if I know what the schedules are and if we're going to do this and this, I usually know that production tends to get extended more than gets less. And so I'm just want to be able to train my thought to know that do I start working on my segments before Sunday? Because that's what I'll start changing.
You have to go before,
but sports is different.
We have control over how long the segments are.
Right, but the only reason why I'm approaching it is because I'm trying to look at the time of when right after the last, so I go right into it. It reminds me of Tuesday.
Well, I only have one requirement, sorta, that I get everything
right.
I need this. It's at the latest. I have to start the post at 10 o'clock.
That's exactly.
That's one of the hemmed in. Or else that means I'll be staying up too late.
That's exactly where I was going.
Theoretically, I would like to start the post at 9 o'clock.
Right, and see, that's what I was thinking. Is that I know
earlier? So the 2 to 4 wasn't bad because you notice I did my work.
Right,
and then I was out.
Right.
But again, I'm still flexible.
Right.
It's just that we both know that it helps if I get out of here.
Right.
Because then I end up being more rested for the morning.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm approaching the same concept of when we go from Tuesday night Quiet Storm. When it ends at 10, how much time when it goes into Wednesday? That's a bear. And I think of that the same
That's
way.
why I'm saying this one doesn't have. Okay, this one I don't. Okay, I don't want to be this one to be that only because it's not a full production really. To me, the part that is the part. That's why I changed it to the only part that is the part I deliver.
Right.
That's why I changed it to be that, so
Right.
that you guys didn't have to do anything
Right.
but respond about the personal, right? So we can get because what we really wanted out of it was the personal little
Right.
pieces. So that's why it was easy. And since I'm already laying it out as a thing to present,
Right.
to let it be that. And then we said after that, that's when we changed it, because
Right.
then that left whatever we shot with Miko to be done or not done. So
Right.
you remember, that's where the change was.
Right.
And that's why I said, so we can still get our stuff done. I'm just adding the task of the DJ show, and depending how we do it, we can change the time, all of that. It's just, the only reason what happened, it comes up the same thing. Once we do it, then we start wanting to be able to promote it, and that's where you come into the time issues.
Right.
Because we could change, if we wanted to, it could change up all the time.
Right.
But that makes it hard for us to promote it.
Right.
And you know that if they know you're doing it, they may come. That's the other thing. That's the thing. And then if it was Monday night, that is a little close to Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, they roll in. The thing is rolling into morning coffee the next day because it's a bigger production. So that's why I said, depending on what time of the day is what I was trying to figure out.
If
what
this
to
could be
come
made
to.
so it's not minimal work for you, and that you could just flow through it, and not, then I would be happy, because
Right.
it allows me to really test on the high level,
Right.
the other little things, and since what it's testing on a high level, that's where it makes you want to go on and show it, because
Oh,
we
yeah.
be tested on a high level.
Right.
In a minute, I need Mac and them to come into Uvu too, to test, to see how, because we're fine tuning it. In other words, I already know it works. I want to know, can we make it sound all good, or how good it is when we pull in other people? Boom.
Right.
We
Right.
know even how the call-in works.
Right.
We kind of know we're ready for that just by putting the stuff. Some stuff we're ready for.
Right.
I just want to go. That's why I said this is a higher level testing. That's why I go like, well, it might as well be a show.
Oh no, the show is not the issue, because I know scheduling is just putting it where it's a great concept. What I'm doing is making sure that when you block out, because I know our habits when we do our stuff. We're more production people, and we tend to work extra longer more than less. That's
Well,
just our nature.
And the problem with this is that I'm trying to keep it minimal. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I'm telling myself to come out half an hour before, because I can't make it any shorter than that.
Right.
Anyway, almost.
Right. Yeah. You know, I understand. That's what I'm
So
saying.
that's the problem. I can't really make it there's an argument for 45 minutes
Yeah.
or
I
to
know.
an hour,
Right.
because then you're really, really settled in.
That's right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
half an hour ahead from, I agree. That's where it ends up being more work for us, because we do the light.
Right.
But I was just hoping to make it, again, to try to get it to the minimum so we can get, because this one is more about, at least for now, even though in a minute we'll take it off to another thing. So,
Right.
but then we would have tested all that stuff. Then you'll be like, okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna do this when so and so's.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's just like I said, the organic nature, which a lot of people will say, well, what do you mean? Is being able to not affect the next production. And that's what you're doing. You're thinking in terms
Totally
of time. And I
Lifestyle.
know what happens when because no matter what happens, that morning coffee, because they don't realize how big it is and what you have to do. And it is time sensitive, because I'm in one of my segments. I can't help it. It is time sensitive because it's sports. So you can't do 2 days ahead. You have to wait for the latest and greatest. So
Well,
I can't get around that no matter what.
That's why for this one, I agree. The way to keep it limited is to go for really 55 minutes.
Right.
And just really go for the 50, because I don't,
Yeah.
because then that changes my, post.
You can always expand your show.
Yeah, the post will be like
Yeah.
this. If we do that,
Yeah.
my post is like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, because 2 hours it's good, but I envision stuff and go, well, you know what, 2 hours. We always killing that 2 hour bug. I mean,
We don't need it for this, again,
Yeah.
for the goal, and because it still is for us to test a prototype, right? In
Right.
other words, whether it's 2 hours or 3 hours or what, or changing it up. In a minute, we'll know we may change it up because we're actually thinking about what it is for like Miko too.
Right.
That's the point. So we know what 2 hours feels like.
Yeah. It's no joke.
2 hours is enough
And you
for
have-
most things. We know that sometimes people want more,
Right.
and that's still a sometimes.
Right.
But also we know for our show system, we got to be able to do 1 hour shows.
Yeah.
We just got to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Some of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
We just got to.
Yep.
All right, everybody. So this has been the staff meeting. Want to thank you. We'll be posting it. It's for Sunday. It is April 27th. And this has been the Pack Stereo, wonderful, interesting Pack Stereo staff meeting. Peace.
Peace. Out, you guys. Bam.
Candlelight in the city on a hill with a bottle of wine. You whisper those life-changing words.